Today, it's all about the Tomorrow War. It's time to talk about it. Let's go. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Klepcx FM, brought to you by WeAreCritics.com, a place where we talk about movies, television, and pop culture. And if you're into that kind of thing, make sure you hit the subscribe key and that notification bell so you can be up to speed about everything that I talk about here. Now, shout out to Amazon Studios. You guys always hook it up. Because of them, we were able to see today the Tomorrow War. But by the time you guys see this, it'll probably already be up. But yeah, before I get into what did I think about it, let's break this thing down so you guys can understand what this movie is all about, because it's really getting minimal marketing. There's barely any reviews on this thing online and on IMDb, so that's kind of weird in itself. But the film follows Chris Pratt. Who else is in this? J.K. Simmons is in this. Betty Gilpin is in this from The Hunt. For any of you who saw the very first couple of straight to home premiere movies last year during quarantine, The Hunt, she was in that. A couple other guys, Sam Richardson and Edwin Hodge is in this as well. I'm name dropping those guys because they're pivotal characters in this. A lot of people may not know who they are, but they are pivotal characters. The film follows a gentleman who is kind of not happy with his living, his way of life. He's a happily married man, though, and he has a daughter that he loves very, very much. And you get that right off rip when you're watching this. But something's missing in his life. Then, out of the blue, there's this draft for a military war, but it's not your average war. These people are drafting from the future. Now, it sounds very far-fetched, but it looks incredible. And the way that the trailer sells it, not too bad, but I think it undersells it a little bit. So this man is drafted into this future war to stop the war from actually happening in present time, or a couple of years past present time, and they just keep drafting people. So it's like the old school draft in the military, but from the future to present time, if that makes any sense. Let's get right into it. It's directed by Chris McKay, the gentleman who did the Lego movie. Now, can you imagine that? Like, off rip, if someone's like, yeah, the Lego movie guy is directing this film, automatically you might get a little judgmental. But listen, let me tell you something, guys. Going into this film, I gotta be honest, maybe the only thing about this film that I didn't like was the fact that it never got a theatrical release. Listen, guys, the Tomorrow War, it delivers on so many levels than you would expect. Watching the trailer completely undersells this thing. I've even spoken to a few colleagues who saw the trailer themselves, and they were a little underwhelmed with the trailer. Like I said, but there are reasons why this trailer is being so, so tight-knit. Like, they're not really buzzing this thing a lot, because there's a few surprises and things that happen in this thing that you kind of appreciate more when you don't know what's going to happen. There was one predictable thing that happened that I foresaw, but it was in the storytelling. It's not bad when it happened. It doesn't get presented poorly, but I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to try not to spoil anything about this movie while I review it. But other than that, I thought the movie was pretty solid. 2.5, almost 2.5. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. And I'm telling you, just when you think you've seen just about anything that's like alien invasion related or time travel related, then here comes the Tomorrow War that brings enough originality and enough action and surprises to keep you engaged for 2 hours and 20 minutes. So I applaud Amazon, I applaud McKay, I applaud Chris Pratt and the rest of these guys for that. There's a ton of action in this thing. Like, the beginning is it's not real slow, but it's slow enough but fast-paced enough to really get the point across. You understand the stakes, you understand the who, what, when, and why you should care, in what's going on in the mind of Chris Pratt. You literally feel like you're in the seat of all the key players, because you're literally getting the information as they're getting the information. So, for example, the draft happens. No one knows what's going on and why. We just know that there's a war. We don't know what the enemy looks like. We don't know where they're going to get dropped off, how they get dropped off, how they get... The training is like minimal. It's like this. You're literally in the seat riding along with the key players the whole time, and it kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat. So I kind of appreciated that. You weren't really being spoon-fed, everything all at once and just, cramming information at you. It really takes its time to set it up without being boring. Now, there's a couple of twists in this thing. One in which I told you I thought was a little predictable, because the way that they set up the film, you kind of get a gist that, like, I think this is what's going to happen. And I don't want to tell you what's going to happen, but it's the first twist. When you see it, you'll know it. I promise you. And you'll probably be thinking the same thing. But it's not easy to figure out where it's going to go. I'll tell you that, which was really fun and really good and kept me engaged, because a lot of times you can see these things play out scene for scene and you think you know where it's going to go, but you don't really know where it's going to go. J.K. Simmons is introduced in this. He plays the father of Chris Pratt, and the casting in this. Let's talk about the casting in this is pretty damn awesome, and I think that's one of the things that really sells this, because it's not crammed, and there's not a lot of people in this movie that are unnecessary. Like, I think J.K. Simmons in this is very necessary, and he's not overused or underused. He's perfect in the role that he's playing, and he's utilized just so perfectly in the story, and I appreciated the way they did that. There's even a casting that was unexpected, because I haven't seen this person in a long time. Mary Lynn Rajkub. I don't want to ruin her name, but I remember her as Chloe from 24. If any of you guys ever watched 24, you're 24 fans. She played Chloe on 24. She's in this as well, and she's given a pretty badass role in this thing, and it's just sort of unexpected casting that you see someone that you remember and you're like, oh, that was pretty cool. Good that she's in this, or was in this movie. Yeah, man, I really can't even tell you, like, the special effects, the score, everything. It just kind of just went together. Like, I really wish that this got a theatrical treatment, because it's really good enough to be that. Like, the storyline is pretty on point, and I've really had no gripe with this thing. Like, and that's pretty rare. It's been a long time since I've seen a streaming service movie that delivered and over delivered to my expectations were really low for this, and not because I don't think that Amazon has it in them or that Chris Pratt doesn't have it in him. It's just that when it comes to these streaming service movies, a lot of them, it's kind of like straight to TV movies. Like, a lot of them come off as though they were made for straight to TV. This didn't feel like it was made for a straight to streaming service. It really felt like it should have been in the movie theater, and I think it could have stood with the movie theaters. But with saying that, because of the type of trailer that we got, I honestly think that if it would have came out in the movie theater, it would have been a sleeper. And I don't mean by a sleeper that no one would have cared about it. It just would have been one of those ones that slipped through the cracks, and then you wake up one day and you're like, oh yeah, that movie's out, I forgot all about that. And then you go see it, and then you go tell your friends like, yo, that movie was kind of dope. You know what I mean? So I think this is one of those movies that you guys will appreciate. I think that people are going to have low expectations. They're going to go in and be like, it's got a little bit of Starship Trooper vibe, Pitch Black vibe, Independence Day vibe, but it still is its own thing. And they don't get too technical with the time travel stuff. It is what it is, but overall, I think they wrapped it up really well. Even when you think it's over, there's still questions to be answered, and they take you there, man. They take you there, and it's still a blast. It's still fun. It's still engaging, and I think they did a great job. I'm gonna applaud them on it. I really highly recommend this film. Chris Pratt's amazing, and he does his thing. I think it's about time that we see, like, buddy cop Chris Pratt. Like, I think he could do, he could be the next Bruce Willis or something. He needs a Die Hard. He needs one of those kind of movies that kind of sets him apart. I think he's great in this, and I'm interested to see where else he's got going on, other than Jurassic Park. I'm kind of done with that franchise, but yeah, Chris Pratt's the man in this. Guys, let me know what you thought. Are you excited to check this out? Are you going to be checking it out? Because I know I'm, like, seriously overhyping this right now, but I had a really good time watching this. And again, it's not about what I think, it's about what you guys think. So let me know what you think. Like, comment, share. Make sure you subscribe. And for more movie news, television news, pop culture, and my podcast, Klepcx Talk, make sure you guys check out wearecritics.com, and I will talk to you all later. Peace.